Close your eyes. Listen. 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 Well, now, the easiest way to get into the meditative state is to begin by listening. If you simply close your eyes and allow yourself to hear all the sounds that are going on around you, just listen to the general hum and buzz of the world as if you were listening to music. Don't try to identify the sounds you're hearing. Don't put names on them. Simply allow them to play with your eardrums. And let them go. In other words, you could put it, let your ears hear whatever they want to hear. Don't judge the sounds. There are no, as it were, proper sounds or improper sounds, and it doesn't matter if somebody coughs or sneezes or drops something. It's all just sound. And if I am talking to you right now and you're doing this, I want you to listen to the sound of my voice just as if it were noise. Don't try to make any sense out of what I'm saying, because your brain will take care of that automatically. You don't have to try to understand anything. Just listen to the sound. As you pursue that experiment, you will very naturally find that you can't help naming sounds, identifying them, that you will go on thinking, that is to say, talking to yourself inside your head automatically. But it's important that you don't try to repress those thoughts by forcing them out of your mind, because that will have precisely the same effect as if you were trying to smooth rough water with a flat iron. You're just going to disturb it all the more. What you do is this. As you hear sounds coming up in your head, thoughts, you simply listen to them as part of the general noise going on, just as you would be listening to the sound of my voice, or just as you would be listening to cars going by or to birds chattering outside the window. So look at your own thoughts as just noises. And soon you will find that the so-called outside world and the so-called inside world come together. They are a happening. Your thoughts are a happening, just like the sounds going on outside. And everything is simply a happening, and all you're doing is watching it. hear the past? Can you hear the future? Can you hear the listener? Where do the sounds come from? Let them tell you the truth. 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 Now, in this process, another thing that is happening that is very important is that you're breathing. And as you start meditation, you allow your breath to run just as it wills. In other words, don't do at first any breathing exercise, but just watch your breath breathing the way it wants to breathe. And notice a curious thing about this. You say in the ordinary way, I breathe, because you feel that breathing is something that you are doing voluntarily, just in the same way as you might be walking or talking. But you will also notice that when you are not thinking about breathing, your breathing goes on just the same. So the curious thing about breath is that it can be looked at both as a voluntary and an involuntary action. You can feel on the one hand, I am doing it, and on the other hand, it is happening to me. And that is why breathing is a most important part of meditation, because it is going to show you, as you become aware of your breath, that the hard and fast division that we make between what we do on the one hand and what happens to us on the other is arbitrary. So that as you watch your breathing, you will become aware that both the voluntary and the involuntary aspects of your experience are all one happening. Now that may at first seem a little scary, because you may think, well, am I just the puppet of a happening, the mere passive witness of something that's going on completely beyond my control? Or on the other hand, am I really doing everything that's going along? Well, if I were, I should be God. And that would be very embarrassing, because I would be in charge of everything. That would be a terribly responsible position. The truth of the matter, as you will see it, is that both things are true. You can see it that everything is happening to you, and on the other hand, you're doing everything. For example, it's your eyes that are turning the sun into light. It's the nerve ends in your skin that are turning electric vibrations in the air into heat and temperature. It's your eardrums that are turning vibrations in the air into sound, and in that way, you are creating the world. But when we're not talking about it, when we're not philosophizing about it, then there is just this happening, and we won't give it a name. When you breathe for a while, just letting it happen and not forcing it in any way, you will discover a curious thing, that without making any effort, you can breathe more and more deeply. In other words, supposing you simply are breathing out, and breathing out is important because it's the breath of relaxation. That's when we say, whew, and heave a sigh of relief. So when you are breathing out, you get the sensation that your breath is falling out. Dropping, dropping, dropping out, with the same sort of feeling you have as if you were settling down into an extremely comfortable bed. And you just get as heavy as possible and let yourself go. And you let your breath go out in just that way. And when it's thoroughly comfortably out and it feels like coming back again, you don't pull it back in, you let it fall back in, letting your lungs expand, 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 until they feel very comfortably full. And you wait a moment and let it stay there, and then once again, you let it fall out. And so in this way, you will discover that your breath gets quite naturally easier and easier, and slower and slower, and more powerful. So that with these various aids, listening to sound, listening to your own interior feelings and thoughts, just as if they were something going on, not something you're doing, but just happenings, and watching your breath as a happening that is neither voluntary nor involuntary, you are simply aware of these basic sensations. Then you begin to be in the state of meditation. But don't hurry anything. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what progress you're making. Just be entirely content to be aware of what is. if you awaken from this illusion and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. So, say in Hindu mythology, they say that the world is the drama of God. God is not something in Hindu mythology with a white beard that sits on a throne and that has royal prerogatives. God in Indian mythology is the self, Satchidananda, which means Sat, that which is, Chit, that which is consciousness, that which is Ananda is bliss. And in other words, what exists, reality itself, is gorgeous. It is the plenum, the fullness of total joy. Wow-wee. And all those stars, if you look out in the sky, as a firework display like you see on the 4th of July, which is a great occasion for celebration. The universe is a celebration. It is a firework show to celebrate that existence is. Wow-wee. And then they say, but however, there's no point just in sustaining bliss. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. Or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself, throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball, see? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
Open to timelessness. The presence of eternity is right where you are. Each step, each word, each breath is an invitation to the reality of the present. Let yourself be seated comfortably. Sit with ease and presence. And in this meditation, you will sit in timeless loving awareness and let yourself become what my teacher Ajahn Chah called the one who knows, the witness to all things. As you sit, let yourself be relaxed and dignified. Sense yourself resting in your seat at the still point of the turning world. Let all the experiences that arise, the sensations and thoughts, the sounds and sights appear as they will, like images on a screen or waves in the water. Memories, luminous sunsets, the joys and pains that arise are an endless creative display, appearing and dissolving. And you rest in loving awareness, the witness to them all. Rest where you are. It is always now, the eternal present. Even as a child playing outdoors, you knew how to step outside of time. See how time and clocks, calendars, future, past, plans, and memories are all ideas created by the mind in the present. Shift your attention and rest as the timeless loving awareness, the one who knows. Thoughts and plans, ideas of past and future arise just now, and all that appears are simply movements in space that cannot affect the ground of eternity. Sense timeless vastness. The galaxies turn in this timeless universe. Life renews itself again and again. It is not your body, but eternity's body, known by eternity's awareness. Rest in loving awareness in the reality of the present. It is always now. Trust it. Breathe in this spacious silence. rest, and trust the unfolding. And in this spirit of trust, when you get up from the meditation, let your actions arise from this stillness. Resting in eternity, you will naturally know how to respond, how to create and embody, but the actions will arise from the one who knows. As the great Taoist sage Lao Tzu says, remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself. Rest in the eternal present. It is your home. And from this, allow all of life to unfold with a trusting and caring heart.
So when you realize that what's important is already here and not in the next moment, what really matters, that means you already have shifted to a different state of consciousness. Very simple, just that realization. But it's so deeply ingrained, the illusion, the belief, the unconscious assumption, that the next moment matters more than this one. Everybody inherits that mind pattern, and that makes life very frustrating. You all know that. Life consists only ever of this moment. So we are here to go deeper into this moment and not wait for something more significant in the next one. So we become comfortable with being here now and get rid of the illusion that there is something important missing from your life, or there's something not quite right that hasn't arrived yet, something, a very deep-seated illusion. There's something not right, but it's going to be right perhaps one day. The person who is still deluded by worldly things believes that it's going to be right when this or that happens, or I attain this or that. And the spiritual seeker believes it's going to be right when I become enlightened. In both cases, it's future, the promise of that. And you are continuously overlooking something vital that is very easy to overlook because the movement of thought is so seductive and hypnotic. There's a light in you, not a visual light, a presence that is essentially who you are and has nothing to do with your past or future. And we are here to become familiar with being that presence consciously. If it feels good and right for you this moment to be here and to hear this, and almost, let's say, to recognize the truth of it, that means that's it. Just a sense of goodness and rightness of being here, that means that dimension that has no form is already arising.
get 2 more minutes.
Okay, this is the last take. What was a passable date?
Alright, dude, now I'm realizing there's a problem.
What?
We're gonna
to luster, and let the moon do its work on your body, and then to rise, forests and oceans of lives, and through the eye of the black rock splitter and wide, and flow, turn 1,000 miles. I've had enough, wasted my body, my life. I'll come away from the shadows. Can the sullen child, as bound as the ox that I ride, climb to the heart of the wind singing high, and
possible.